Hey YouTube, so today third part of my how to film skateboarding video series, and today I'm gonna talk about the final process. You already have the clip in the camera and now what to do with it. Post-processing everything that's in your computer. I'm gonna show you what kind of software I use. I'm gonna show you how to set your project settings the right way. I'm gonna show you a little bit how to edit your clips, then how to export them, and then finally how to upload them to social media. So let me just bring it to my computer. So this here is my software that I use. It's called Edis Pro 7. It's a really old software. Back then it cost a lot of money. But what I want to tell you is it doesn't matter what kind of software you use. Basically every kind of software is pretty good. If you don't have money, I would really recommend to get DaVinci Resolve because it's free and it's like really good. You just need a little bit of time to get into it because it's very complicated. Because a pro editing software and also for color grading, awesome, probably one of the best out there, and it's for free. But you just need a little bit of time to get into it to know how the features are. And there are great YouTube tutorials about DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, so you just have to sign up and then you can download it for free. But today I'm gonna use Edis Pro 7 and we're gonna start a new project and I'm gonna call it Sexy Jake Skate Clip. Okay, so I'm gonna customize my settings and I film in 1080p, which is full HD. And of course you can shoot in 4K. I don't do that because most of my stuff will land on Instagram or Facebook or even YouTube, and I know you can do 4K, but I just don't need that. I do so many videos and the file size is gonna be gigantic if you always shoot in 4K. So for this purpose, for this video, we're gonna use 1080p. That's totally fine. So 1080p, and now a very, very important part, the frame rate. So you have different frame rates. You have 25 frames per second, 30 frames per second, depending on what country you're in. In Germany, you usually have 25 frames per second. If you go to the States, you have 30 frames per second. So your project settings always have to match your clips that you record them. If you record at 50 frames per second or 60 frames per second because you want that slow motion shot, that's okay. Just use half of that because that's like the native frames per second. You can also upload, if you upload to YouTube, you can also do 60 frames per second. That's okay too, but I usually do the native camera settings like 25 or 30, that's just perfect. So, and for example, if you have a camera that shoots in 25 frames per second and you think I'm gonna upload it to YouTube, and YouTube uses 30 frames per second, so your project settings are gonna be 30, that's gonna mess your quality up. It's gonna be really blurry in the end when you put it out, when you export it. So always match your camera settings. Very important. So I shot in 50 frames per second, I'll take half, so 25 frames per second. Now this is good to go. I'm just gonna hit OK, and here we go. Here we go, project is starting. Now I'm just gonna import my clip really quick here. So my computer is having a hard time because I'm recording the screen at the same time and editing, and it's giving me a hard time, but I'll be able to pull it off. So let me find a clip. So we filmed this clip here with Jake, and also this one here. This is the nice one. We're gonna take the nice clip. So I'm just gonna import it, and here's the clip. Here's my Explorer, here's my preview window, and here's my timeline where I have all my tracks. And I'm just gonna pull the clip down here. Wait, let me just get rid of that track here. That's a video audio track. I don't want that, it confuses me all the time. Also, this here is for titles, and I will not have titles in this video, so I just have a video track here and a couple audio tracks, and you can unfold them, and you have different options to modify your tracks. So I'm just gonna pull this clip down here, and that's the whole clip. Jake doing a trick, doing another trick, and then messing up a heel flip. So rule number one, when you're editing for skateboarding, here's a lot of stuff in the beginning. You don't need that. You wanna start the clip just before he pops the trick, somewhere around here. That's nice. So I'm just gonna cut the clip here. I'm gonna delete that. It's now starting here. Bam. Now he's gonna do his 180 and then his fakey big spin. And after that, he messed up the heel flip, so I'm gonna cut that out. And so somewhere around here, that is good. That's just before he pushed another time. You don't want to have that extra push in your edit because then you know what comes after he messed it up. So we're just gonna cut it here. Rip. Okay. So I can give you a more detailed tutorial about how I do my edits, like with music and stuff, but that's gonna be a whole another video because that is a real big topic with a lot of things I can talk about. For the sake of this video, we're just gonna leave it with that clip. We're gonna do some basic color correction here. So what I do, that's really basic. I just put a S-curve, gamma curve on it here, and we can also use our scopes here. There are tutorials about that, like real detailed tutorials. I will not go into detail in this video. If you're interested, just type in color grading your clips, and there are like millions of videos. But for this video, I'm just gonna keep it very basic. This is here my contrast. I'm just gonna do a slight S-curve. I'm gonna lift the highlights here, you can see that, and the shadows, take them down a little bit. So it's getting a little bit darker here, a little bit brighter in the highlights, and that's all I do. Yeah, and it looks a lot better. If you turn it off and on again, it gives us a lot more contrast, and contrast is what makes your clips look really good, like Hollywood stuff. And what I also usually do is not that here. I just pull in the contrast and the colors a little bit. I don't want to screw that up here, so I have to be very gentle. A little bit of contrast in the colors. Yeah, that's fine. So my computer's having a hard time. So without, with, a lot better. A lot better, in my opinion. So now we got the clip, we edited it. I'm gonna set my endpoint of my render, and now we're gonna go to rendering it because you edit it and then you have to export it. So exporting settings, there are different ways you can do it. Now what's important is you have to remember your frame rate and your resolution, and there are different codecs. I usually like to render out in MP4. That's great for YouTube. If you go for codecs like H.264, that's just perfect, and audio ACC. And there are more detailed videos about codecs and formats. I'm not gonna bore you right now with that shit. So just use an MP4. H.264, for example, is great. Keep in mind your resolution and also your frame rate. So now you can actually export to 30 frames per second, but I like to just keep it at that frame rate I picked in the beginning, which is my clip. And then later on, I'm gonna let YouTube do the converting to 30 frames per second. That's how I usually do it. And I don't have any issues with blurry clips. So 1920 by 1080, 25p, and yeah, H.264 and an AVC audio codec. So let's push export. I'm gonna render that out. So I'm gonna pick my folder and I'm gonna name it Sexy Jake Skate Clip. Okay, and with the compression here, I like to go a little bit higher than like 18, but that's just me, man. I go somewhere around 20 megapixels. You have different options here. I go for super fine. I want the super quality and high profile, but that's just like some specific ED's render settings. Your software might have a different one. Okay, now let's save. And then, so this render will take a little bit of time depending on how long your video is and how fast your computer is. But yeah, that's all that's to it. Now, if it's finished, you can take your clip and you can try to get it on your phone. There are different ways to do it. There are a lot of stupid ways to do them. For example, using WhatsApp, or I don't know. There are many ways. But what you want to do is try to get it as uncompressed as possible. And the best way for me, I'm an Android user. I don't have Air whatever, iTunes, AirDrop or whatever. I don't know. I just use Google Drive. I load the clip into my Google Drive. I have the Google Drive app on my phone. Just download it onto my phone, and then I can upload straight to Instagram, Facebook. And for YouTube, I just use my computer, upload it to YouTube. Okay, that's all. That's my tips about how to edit your clips. So I had really fun doing this video series talking about how to film skateboarding. I know a little bit about it. I am not sure if I brought across everything I wanted to say and everything the right way, but if you have questions, anything, just hit me up, write in the comments, or hit me up on Instagram. I'd love to talk to you about it and give you some advice about how to film skateboarding. Yeah, dude. So, Christmas time is coming. Hope you're having a great time. Hope you already got your presents, and I'll see you next week. So, peace out. Bye.